Hey party people, welcome to another video. I want to do a quick video that will be dedicated to a car owner, a car enthusiast, a beginner, and that's called the clay bar. And this is exactly what I'm flopping around in my hand, because many of you will ask, what the heck does clay have to do with car paint or your car in general? Well, let me give you my simple description. In the world exists this stuff called dirt or pollution that settles on your car, and that's why you wash it, to remove that. Well, the washing process only removes what's called superficial dirt. You might notice that after you're done washing your car that your paint feels less than smooth. In fact, if you rub your car like that, because my car actually has paint overspray all over it, which I have to remove, you might notice that your paint feels rough, feels like there's a texture to it, and you can actually hear it. That is not wanted. Paint should be seen, not heard. So if in fact you can hear your paint and you can feel your paint in a bad way, let's do something about it. That's where the clay bar comes in. There's endless choices, by the way. You will likely be overwhelmed by the endless choices, but just pick something and get you started. I promise you, moving forward, you're gonna pick something else and try it. But we wanna just get you off of the fence and get you some desired results into your world, specifically with your car. So you use some type of clay lube. There's many clay bar kits that you can get. If you check the links below, there's always gonna be links that will take you to my website that will give recommendations for you. On a clean car, as in a freshly washed car, you spray the surface with your clay lube. This one happens to be Mother's Instant Detailer. Why do you need a lubricant? Because this, for one, is tacky and kind of sticky, but you need the ability to rub it back and forth on your car paint in order to remove those bonded contaminants. How do you know they're removed or not? Well, on a light colored car, you can actually see those bonded contaminants in the form of little specks. Some of those specks will actually appear to be rust specks, which is very true because there's metal particles floating in the air, and some of those particles will in fact be made of metal. So you will be able to see it on a light colored car. On a dark colored car, you're not going to be able to see it, you're only going to be able to feel it and hear it. So let's pretend that you're working on a dark colored car and you can only hear it and feel it. So right here, hear that? And if you are a beginner, trust me, this will be disturbing, because you will rub this back and forth on your car paint and you will hear some disturbing noises and you'll think, oh my gosh, I am like scratching the hell out of my car paint. Well, just accept that no, you're not. You might be introducing some level of marring, but after you finish this process on your car, you're going to, or it's highly recommended that you follow up with a wax. So if you see some type of marring on your paint, just rub particularly harder with the car wax, and in most cases, you will see that it will remove any marring that you have introduced through this process. But as you're rubbing, you'll notice that the sound will be significant, and then it will progressively go away to the point where you hear nothing. That's how you know that you have success. And at that point, you can take your victory lap and say, oh, I have success. And at that point, you wipe it up, you clean it up, you rewash your car, depends on how neurotic you are, and then you proceed to then wax your car or use your choice in a car paint sealant. You need to use something, or at least it's highly recommended that you finish up with something. In conclusion, let me add a couple of closing remarks, which is this. How often do you clay bar your car? Well, that's up to you. Once you start feeling and hearing your car paint enough, then you know it's time to bust out the clay bar and do it again. That might be once a year, it could be once every 2 years, it might be once every 6 months, you just never know. It's largely going to be based on you, your expectations, and the environment in which you live. Secondly, how often do you have to replace the clay bar? Well, if you follow the industry's instructions, some of them will say approximately after 5 to 6 uses, or they'll give some kind of indicator just know that you can use it way longer than the industry suggests. You just keep kneading in that dirt or folding it over onto itself so that you have a cleaner section in which to work. Also, it's not just for your paint. It will work on virtually any hard type of material, namely car paint, your glass on your car, any hard black plastic trim, or any chrome trim, or chrome components like a bumper. Anything that's hard that you can use a lubricant and slide it back and forth, you can use the clay bar for. It will not scratch your glass at all, but it has the potential to slightly abrade your car paint. And largely that will be based on how significant or how much pollution you're trying to remove, how many times you have to rub back and forth for success, how much pressure you're applying, which is another point. How much pressure do you apply? Well, you don't have to apply really any pressure at all. It's just that trade-off. So the less pressure you apply, probably the more times you're gonna have to rub it back and forth in order for complete removal. If you apply some moderate pressure, you will find that the clay bar will probably produce the desired results a little quicker rather than a little slower. But that's where the trade-offs come in, because I know as a beginner, the more pressure you apply in your head, it's gonna freak you out because you're gonna think like, oh, if I apply too much pressure, I'm gonna scratch my paint more versus less. Well, you just experiment, you just test it out, you know, tiptoe into the waters, test out the waters, do a little section, wipe it off, check your results, verify, see how many times you had to rub, the kind of pressure. These are all the nuances of the moment that no one can really explain to you in video format. So only you've got to figure it out for your world. I'm just trying to get you off the fence and get you started and apply some basic rules. Also, the industry will have you believe that if you drop this, and by the way, I'd be willing to bet that at a minimum, half of you that attempt to do this to your car will accidentally drop this on the ground. On virtually every packaging I've seen, on every video I've seen, they will tell you that once you drop your clay bar, you're gonna have to throw it away because now it's filled with dirt from the ground. Well, you'd be surprised that despite how tacky and sticky this is, it really does not pick up much dirt from the ground. But once again, I will restate, like I do so many videos, nothing is created equal. And what I mean by that is not all ground is created equal. Here in my garage, I have epoxy floors. Right outside my garage door, I have a cement driveway. Right outside that, I have an asphalt road. So not all roads are created equal, and it has the ability to pick up different types of particles. Plus, not all surfaces are equally dirty or equally clean. My garage floor is pretty clean. The asphalt on the road out there is particularly dirty. But to apply voice of reason, simply pick up the clay bar. Don't go into freak out mode. I know you're gonna freak out a little bit. That's okay. We all do it. Examine your clay bar. If there's some obvious dirt particles, simply pick them out. Once again, you'll be surprised that it does not really pick up that much dirt in the process of dropping it onto the ground, unless of course you're clay barring your car on the sand at the beach, which is highly unlikely. And I suspect that if you dropped it there, you'd pick up a lot of sand particles, but that is an absurd moment. So you examine it, you scrutinize it, you pick out the particles, now you feel it. You can also put this underwater and it will help in releasing that and washing that away so you don't have to throw away your clay bar. Now, if you're really neurotic, then yes, by all means throw it away and separate yourself from more of your money in the process of buying a new clay bar. I get it. Or you can take a razor blade and shave off some obvious parts that you cannot pick off. So there's many ways to deal with that. You can actually stretch it and reveal those dirt particles, but just feel it. And I think you'll be surprised once you pick out the obvious particles that if you feel this side that hit the ground and this side that did not hit the ground, they will feel the same. So then you just knead it. That word just sounds so silly to me, kneading it. It's like kneading bread. So you mold it, you bend it, you fold it over onto itself, and what you do is you work in those particles, whether they're microscopic or you can see them, and this is what you're supposed to do anyways as you move around your car, is that you knead in that bonded contaminants that are being sheared off as you use this clay bar until you have a cleaner area of your clay bar in which to work. So those are just some of my ground rules. There'll be some other additional videos that will teach you more about the clay bar, the do's and don'ts. But with that said, I will stop there. By all means, leave your comments below. I want to hear from you guys as beginners. What are some of the myths perhaps that you've heard about the clay bar? Really the goal of the video was to educate you enough to get you to take that leap of faith into trying it, because I promise you, for 99.9% of you, you will love the desired end results, and I will see you on the next video.